You know how sometimes we can believe something that's not exactly true, right? Even though it was something that's been repeated years and years and years, right? And that's why we kind of have it in our crawl, inside of us, in our head. And it's going to take some exercise. It's going to take some willpower. It's going to take some determination to get those things out of our psyche, because we've heard them for so long and for so many years, right? Have you guys ever experienced that? Hearing things like, I give you an example. Walking this life is really difficult, right? And it's not going to be a bed of roses, right? Or the flip side to that is, we've heard that, listen, even though this life is hard, but when you get saved, when you find God, or when you find Christ and you give your life to Christ, that's when things are going to turn around and you're going to start seeing, miracles and blessings and all this kind of things. When that's partly true, but that's not totally true, right? But it sounds good. And so we hold on to that thing for dear life, because we all want to be blessed. We all want miracles. We all want, God's favor in our life. But yet it's funny how we don't want to go through nothing. It's funny how we think that life is just supposed to be a bowl of cherries. You dig? And that as soon as we get blindsided with something, as soon as something happens and that we wasn't expecting, we didn't prepare for, we didn't even know about, maybe mama, daddy, grandma, uncles, and aunties, or whoever, they never schooled us. They never hipped us to things that can happen in life. You dig? But yet, we walk around like nothing's supposed to happen to us. Like we're supposed to go through life without no trouble, no trauma, no heartache, no pain, no hurt. And I'm here to tell you, baby, that that's not reality. So why is it that we don't like to go through nothing? You dig? We don't like to go through anything. If it's going to be harmful or hurtful, of course we don't want to go through it. If it's going to be painful, oh, we dang sure don't want to go through it. If it's going to mean that we're going to lose, or that the feelings may feel like a loss when they're really lessons, we don't want to go through that. We don't want to go through anything that's going to be uncomfortable. And I wonder why that is. I mean, really, sometimes I really do wonder why that is, because that's not reality. Why do we walk around believing that life is just supposed to be comfortable and good, and it's never supposed to have any heartaches and no hiccups or no hard problems? Really, why do we feel that way when that's not reality? Whoever told us that, right? Whoever made us feel like everything is going to be cool and life is going to be a bunch of cherries, they really sold us a bunch of lies, you dig? And the reason why I say they sold us a bunch of lies, because that's not actually true, right? Life is not a bowl of cherries all the time. Life is not this, I can just go do what I want, when I want, how I want, you know what I'm saying? And there's no consequences, there's no repercussions, there's nothing to look forward to, or nothing that can be threatened to take away. Again, that's not reality. So, in our everyday lives, we know we're going to experience troubles and trauma, right? Jesus tells us that. He's very clear. He says, in this life, you will have tribulations, right? But be of good cheer, because I've overcome the world. Yo, but before we get into that, listen, please like this video, share this video on all your platforms, right? Share with all your family, friends, everyone, let them know that they can come to Levon Says and get their motivating, positive, daily content. You dig? So, moving further ahead, let's get on with the rest of this message. So the question still comes out to be, why is it that we think things are supposed to go a certain way? You dig? We make all these plans, and we have all these grandiose ideas that, this is going to happen this way, this is going to happen that way, and then that's going to happen. And then when it doesn't, what happens to us? We get frustrated, we get blindsided, we get unfocused. We think, oh, the world's coming apart and nothing is going right. And so Why do we feel like we're owed something? Like life is supposed to be easy and good for us, right? I don't understand why that is, because the same job that you and I passed by in order to go to college and get that degree, or them 2 or 3 degrees, you dig? And then when we get out of college, guess what? When we can't find a job in that field that we spent all that money on and all those years going to school for, that job that we passed out going in is still waiting on us when we come out. Facts. You didn't spend all this time and this money investing your heart, your emotions, you know what I'm saying, your talents, your treasures, your sacrifice into an individual, right? You guys have made plans to do all these things, be together, get married, have a family, build, you know what I'm saying, live happily ever after. And then all of a sudden, I don't know, you get blindsided. Things don't turn out the same way that you thought they were going to turn out. You're like, man, I spent all this time, I didn't sacrifice, I turned this person down, and I did this, and I didn't go to school over here, and all because I thought we was gonna, and then it doesn't take place. What do? You didn't raise your children the best way you know how. You did. You've given them plenty of love. They didn't grow up in poverty. You know what I'm saying? You worked, 2 jobs to make sure they had everything they wanted. They didn't want for nothing, literally, from designer clothes to games, a nice house to everything they wanted for nothing. You made sure they were straight. You kept them in church. You made sure that the word was in them. You know what I'm saying? And then all of a sudden, they start wilding out. What you gonna do? You know what I'm saying? They start going ham. What you gonna do? You get blindsided, right? You're gonna give up on them. You're gonna throw them to the streets, to the wolves, to the dogs. You know what I'm saying? Act like you don't know, or you gonna do what you can and what you feel is necessary as a parent, right? Because you want to make sure they get back on track. But that's not what you expected. You never expected to go through any kind of thing like that with your children, right? We all have been there. We all even still may be going through some things right now where we have certain expectations. We expect things to go a certain way because we have planned and we have put purpose and we have thought things through. So we have an expectation, right? And if those things don't come out the way we expect, we'll be asking ourselves, but I don't understand. Why are things not going the way that I planned them to go? Why things don't go the way that I planned them to go? Every time I set a plan in motion and things are going smooth, and all of a sudden, bam, something happens out of the blue, or I get blindsided, or somebody fails or falls through on their part, and then it affects me. God, why is that continue to happen in my life? Let's read about it. In John, the 16th chapter and the 33rd verse, it reads, "These things I have spoken unto you, that in me ye might have peace. In the world you shall have tribulation, but be of good cheer, because I have overcome the world." John 16 and 33, right? He says, these things I've spoken unto you, right? What are these things? These things were what he was telling them, that if you ask anything in my name and you believe and have no doubt, right, my Father will give it unto you, right? He was explaining to them that, this is what's going to happen after I'm gone. But be encouraged, because it won't always be that way. And so he was explaining these things to them so their hearts would not be troubled when he wasn't around. He was explaining these things to them so they could hold on to these things as they press forth and move forward in their calling, right? And so as they move forward in these things, they need to move forward in him. He's saying, because in me is where you're going to find your peace. See, you're not going to find peace in the world. Because as you're trying to move and operate and exist, right, things are going to come at you. And if you don't have my peace, it's going to crumble you. If you don't have my peace, the anxiety is going to be overwhelming. If you don't have my peace, it's going to seem too much, and you're going to make rash decisions, and you're going to make wrong decisions, and you're going to make emotional decisions that's not going to be beneficial to you or your spirit. But if you have my peace, my peace that's in you, right? The peace that I have, that I give, that's what's going to sustain you in times of being blindsided, in times of tribulation, in times of trouble. Because rest assured, times of trouble are coming. He never said this bowl was going to be easy and life is going to be a bowl of cherries. That's what we heard from my mom and daddy. That's what we heard from, friends and on TV and old sayings. That's not reality. Jesus said in his word, you shall have trouble. You dig? But in you having trouble, you can also be joyful. Yeah, you can have joy in the midst of your trouble. Like, how is that possible? You can have joy in God in the midst of your traumatic, painful, hurtful, trauma-filled situation. You can still have God's peace because the peace that he gives is a peace not like the world. See, the world gives you a peace that's not settling. It's not foundational. It's not built on truth, right? It's built upon manipulation and lies and greed and control. But God says the peace that I give, it's a peace that it's settling. It's unmovable. No matter what happens, no matter what comes your way, the peace that I give you, it's a peace that surpasses all understanding. People will not understand why you're so calm. Why you can be so chill. Why you're not getting all flustered and frustrated and in your emotion and your feelings and you making all these rash and crazy decisions. Because I got God's peace. His peace is on the inside of me. I'm not trying to grab the world's peace. The peace that the world offers isn't going to get me through the next day, the next week, the next month. The world's peace is going to make me go backwards. It's not going to propel and push me forward. But God's peace is going to push me forward and beyond. God's peace is going to help me see beyond the craziness, beyond the madness, beyond the attitudes, beyond, people's bad characteristics and all of this, dispositions. No, his peace in traumatic situations, when things happen that I didn't expect, when things don't go the way that I expect, will cause me to be able to look at things in such a way that I'm not bent out of shape. I'm not cussing you out. I don't have an attitude and I got a scar on my face and I'm just irritated and irritable with everybody because I got the peace of God. He said, I will give you my peace. My peace that I leave with you is not like the world's peace, right? Because in the world, you will have tribulation. But I've overcome the world. And if I'm in you, if I made my abode in you, then you too can overcome the world. Listen, we succeed by seeing other people succeed. That's what gives us a confidence to know that we can do it. When we see other people do something and we say, man, if they can do it, I know I can do it. If they can do it, I know I can do it. And this is how we build our confidence. This is how we build ourselves up to be able to say, yeah, I can do something. Even if there may be some fear there. We can say, if they can do it, if they can get across, if they can hang, if they can jump, if they can build, if they can sacrifice, if they can save, I know I can do it too. Because we've seen the example. Well, Christ walked the example. And all the disciples seen the example. So let us also see spiritually, with our spiritual eyes, the example that he walked before us and that he set before us, and that we too can be successful walking in the same example. You dig? I just want to come on real quick, right, on this Testify Tuesday and just testify to y'all that, listen, we can do the same thing Christ did. We can have the same peace that he had in this world. He had a lot of tribulation. People was always coming against him. People was, doubting him, questioning him. People was even trying to put hands on him. You did? So if he can go through that and still maintain his peace, we can too. Be blessed on today. This is your man, Levon. Remember, Lamella E. Love, uplift, motivate, inspire, learn, laugh, encourage, and enlighten. You dig? Love on someone today and encourage them on today. You dig? Be light on today because it matters how we walk every day, regardless of what we expect or what doesn't come our way, let us walk with the peace of God like Jesus did. You dig? Your man LaVon, I'm out.